The vast majority of people should not actively invest. The vast majority of people should only passively invest, get into Bitcoin, get into a benchmark ETF, and that's it. Don't try to outperform, because first of all, it's very hard to outperform. The competition is massive. Maybe only 10% or so of active investors actually outperform. Secondly, the time you put into trying to outperform might be way better allocated into whatever your actual stream of income is. Because let's assume the absolute most positive scenario. Let's assume you become, with your active approach, as successful as Warren Buffett in the early days. Warren Buffett in the early days made per year compounded 30% outperformance over the S&P 500. 30% per annum. That was his alpha. And he did this year after year after year, and this in the end compounds to mega wealth. 30%. Now let's say you achieve that. Let's also say that maybe you need 40 hours for this, a full-time job. So let's say you have your regular job, 40, 50 hours, and you put on top of that another job to achieve those 30% alpha. Now, when would this actually really be worth it to you? 30%. You'd need at least 3 years of income saved up in order to compete simply just with another full-time job, right? If you had 2 full-time jobs, you'd get 2 times your income. If you have 1 full-time job plus 30% on whatever you've saved up, then you'd need 3 times minimum of money saved up. That would be your minimum capital. So not only do you need to be super successful, you need to be super smart, invest incredibly much time because the competition is so hard. You're taking money away from somebody else that's not as good, right? That's what alpha in the end means. That's what outperformance means. So you're really good at your job. You put completely focus on that alpha. And then on top of that, you need to have saved at least 3 years that you can invest into that whole endeavor. That's quite a strong filter, right? Most people do not cross any of those 2 filters. They will not be Warren Buffett smart and make 30% alpha per year, even in an immature market like crypto. And they will also potentially not have those 3 years saved up that they can use for that kind of speculation. If you're not in that camp, right? If you're not in the camp of the people that have already saved a lot and that have also on top of that a lot of time to invest, then you shouldn't be too focused on outperformance. There are times where it might make sense to speculate on altcoins, right? Now is one of those times. And yes, I do believe that when you get into altcoins now, that if you spread relatively wide within GameFi, within DeFi, maybe within BRC20, then you can achieve an outperformance. It takes a lot of time. But don't do it solely for the money. This is a very concentrated winner takes most market. So don't do that speculation purely for monetary gain. If you simply just want to get more money, then maybe having a second job will be more profitable. Do it maybe because you enjoy it, or do it maybe because you anticipate you will have saved enough. You will have enough capital maybe in 2 or 3 years. Or maybe do it because you think you will outperform even more than Warren Buffett. But you need to have some kind of realistic expectation when you get into this. You should not get in this whole game with the expectation that you start with $5,000 and you will be a millionaire in 2 years simply by picking the right altcoins. You might as well play the lottery if that's your mental mindset. As time passes, crypto becomes more and more mature and becomes more and more competitive. So your rate of learning needs to be faster than the rate of learning of the entire market in aggregate. If you cannot spend more time, more effort, more mental energy on learning crypto compared to the rest of the market that's already maturing, then it's very likely that you're even going to fall further behind. And the target needs to be among the top 10%, right? This is the barrier that you have to cross. So what's the final takeaway here? The final takeaway is that it's very likely that most of your profit in investments, both in crypto, but also in stocks, is coming from the general market appreciation. The market itself goes up, for stocks maybe 10% per annum, for crypto, Bitcoin, maybe 30% per annum. That goes up. Your alpha is likely not going to beat that if you don't put your complete heart and soul into this. And that's fine, right? A little bit of alpha is okay. A little bit of toying around is okay. But this is also how your portfolio should be constructed. If you don't plan on doing this full time, then have only a small fraction of your wealth in altcoins. Don't put the farm on Dogecoin, right? Have a small allocation to play with. If you regard this as lottery tickets, then also allocate accordingly, right? Maybe speculate on the 10 or 100x, but don't put half of your portfolio in investments like this. Feel free to join our Telegram, link is down below. Please also give this a like, it will help the channel grow. And if you haven't yet subscribed, there's also a subscribe button down below. Cheers!